Hi, fellow traders. I hope everybody had a better day than I had. I mean, this was probably the worst day I had ever because this is the first time that I've ever lost internet for practically the entire trading day. Um, everything started out good. I got in a trade, was managing it, and all of a sudden the internet went out. And it took me about 2 or 3 minutes to realize that the internet was out. I was watching this chart and I was watching chat and I'll go back and watch the chart. And after a while, it was stuck at um 9709 and it was just stuck there. So then I looked at my DOS chart and it was stopped. It was frozen. And then, I realized I had lost internet. And it was somebody cutting down trees. A limb got away from them, and not only did it break the cable line running to our neighborhood, but it fell on top of there's a box that sits up that a lot of the cables run into and then they branch off. It smashed it. So it really took out our cable. And I figured because the business part is right across the street, practically from where I live, that, it was a medical thing and then there's an ambulance depot there. I mean, people that I felt would need their internet quickly, but it took them all day to put it back together. But the one thing I was proud of was, initially, I did get into this trade, CHD, this was on my watch. Some of the others on my watch kind of got away from me early, and this was the only one that I saw that I thought would give me a good opportunity. I was looking at this under the 200 down to the 94.85. This was a beautiful window. From 97 down to 94.85. Well, we got the close below and it opened here and I went ahead and got in. And it sold for a little bit. And then it got bought right back up to the 200, which was fine. I figured it can test. As long as it didn't push this, I felt pretty good about it. And right along in here was when I lost power. So, initially I got on the phone and it's impossible. I tried to log in to SureTrader first on my phone. I couldn't do it. Probably it was saying I was still logged in or something on my other computer. Normally it would log out that one and let me log in, but for some reason it was not letting me log in on my phone. And contacting SureTrader the first hour of the trading day is practically impossible. And so I was freaking out for a minute. And then, I have my tablet that works on mobile, as well. So I pulled it up and I was able to pull up my Thinkorswim platform and look at the chart. And it kind of calmed me down to be able to see the chart with my moving averages and everything. I can't see that on my phone, but I can see that on my tablet. And, you know, I was able to look at this and say, look at everything that I have up here. This move is not dead unless it pushes, this 98.05 level. You're only in 400 shares. So, why not look to see if you get to a good add point? So, we did get a little run up here, and I was able to add some at 97.39. I was trying to get it at 97.50 to add, but it never did fill me. I'm trying to fill on my phone here, and it's not really going to what as to plan, but I did get in, did get my average up, and I felt, okay, now here we go. But it still didn't So I was watching it. So as long as it holds below this, this thing may continue to fall. If it keeps testing it, falling down, testing it, this made a lower low. This candle made a lower low as related to this candle. So I kind of felt pretty good. And lo and behold, this thing pushed up. And I said, well, what can I do? I mean, I'm not getting in another trade. I don't have my scanners. This is it for me today. So this is my only chance to make money. And this setup, it just looked so good that as long as it was under this level, under the VWAP, under the 20, that it showed me or kind of gave me an indication that this thing can, fall off a cliff at some point. So I ended up adding here again, up here at 75 or 76. I added 400 more shares. So I was maxed out, as far as buying power. And, I said, well, look, I can't make any more trades. I have no way of doing it. Why not use the skills that I have and try to make this trade work? Let's try to get something out of it. So I did get my average up, and which would allow me to feel better about letting it test this if it ever got to that point. But the 20 was coming in, and I liked that. So I just kept the trade on. I mean, I was in pretty deep. Yeah, this thing could have nailed me, but I felt that I could get out when I needed to. And I even did something that I normally don't do, is I put a hard stop in right here at 98. So if it did get away from me, it should stop me out there at 98. So, I felt pretty good about where I was and allowed it to work. And then as you can see here, this is not retail traders. When you look at price action like this is not retail trader price action. This is retail trader price action. This is like a high frequency trader or high frequency trading. This is all this is. That's all that had a hold of the stock. And then you can look at the volume. We had 9,000 shares traded, 8,000, 9,000 here pretty much, 6,000 here. I mean, and it's just pathetic as to the way this thing was trading and the volume. This retail traders just weren't in this. But again, I didn't have anything else to do. I had nothing else going on, and this was my only opportunity to make money. And it was still in a good place. So I just kept it on and kept watching it. I was going nuts because I wanted to see my platform firing up. I wanted to see this thing a little bit better than just watching it on my tablet. So we did get a little move here, and it came back, kind of rode the 9 again, and then we pushed the 9 into 20. So I was pretty close to clicking it here, just taking it off, close to break even. But then I said, look, I still got the 200 here. I got the VWAP here. I got this level. I mean, it's just too much above it for this thing to push through. I mean, even with the light volume. And what really convinced me to stay on was this candle right here. Yeah, it was only 44,000, shares traded in this 5 minutes. But look at the spike, versus where it was. So this kind of gave me an indication that something may be coming. And I didn't know if it was going to be something pushing to the upside. And, I just didn't know, but I was going to be ready. I knew I was protected, by my stop, and it was just one of those things where you just watch the price action. And the volume still kind of stayed up. This one was disappointing, but then this popped up a little bit. And so I was just waiting and waiting for this thing, to give me a crack. And sure enough, it did. It gave me a nice move down here, but then this candle opened and we got a nice sell off. And so I covered some here at 96.64. And I was thinking that we were going to get the move down, so I took a third off here, which was 400 shares. And we got it went back up, closed above the 9 and tested the 20, and pulled back in. And when it couldn't really do much here, I went ahead and took it off. Plus, it was almost 3:30, and I needed to get out before they did a margin call on me because I was quite a bit above 2 to 1. I still had 800 shares in, and I was still above 2 to 1 on this thing. So I went ahead and took it off here, and seemed to be the right move because this next candle it pushed up, closed above the 20, and just kind of pushed up off of that. But this was a long, 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 all day hold type of trade. Not the kind of trade that I really like to get into. Even though I am patient and I do like to take my time and watch trades develop, this is not something I like to sit through. And I think I said this yesterday. If you look at all of these doggone trades that I've had the last couple of days, you see this crap. And they look good. The setup looks good. And for some reason, I'm picking the ones that these HFTs are getting hold of, or they're manipulated. They're not going to let it drop or not going to let it move up. And it's that part is very frustrating. But it's part of who I am. It's part of what I have to do. This is my job now, and I just have to learn how to deal with it. And sometimes just holding through it and using these technical levels to tell you what to do. And I am 100% technical trader. Fundamentals don't really matter other than the news. The news is the only fundamental that I would even really look at. So that's about it for CHD. That's kind of how it ended up. I really did good on it. It's just not one of the trades that I like to be in. I don't really care whether they resolve in the first 5 minutes. It could take an hour. Doesn't matter. But I don't want to hold 4 hours. On a normal day, I wouldn't have done this. But because of the way things were today, and because of all of the mess I've been through the last couple of weeks, with getting caught in these trades and then getting out, and then eventually, later on, it does make the move that I want. So that was that. I do have my swing trade EW. I took it yesterday. I was looking for it to crack this yesterday. It did. It barely closed below it, which concerned me. And then let me add these studies on. If you look at this, this is the 50 SMA. If I turn this into a 50 EMA, then this is going to get closer. You can see that it pretty much hit this. So let me add this. Let me see if I can add this study. See, moving averages, EMA. All right. think this is it. Yep. See, edit this. We're going to make this a 50-day EMA. You see right here, it tapped the 50-day EMA. And this is the difference between the simple moving average, which is a little bit slower reacting. And I usually use the simple moving average on my daily charts and the EMAs on my intraday charts. But this was pretty unique. I think Jeff pointed it out to me because I had this on my chart. I didn't have the EMA. And so when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, you're right. This thing tapped and bounced off the 50. So this was my concern today. Here, it did kind of close below this today. And we had this good rundown, but it closed above the 50, SMA. So that's, going to be my concern, right there. I'm not going to, let me take this off. I don't use this on my daily chart, but I'm going to kind of stick to what I've been using. So this closed above this. So this is going to be my concern tomorrow. I want to see it fade and close below this tomorrow. And then, we'll have some clean ground. I want to take half of it off here at 95. If we get 95, I want to take half off and then hold the rest to see if I can get to 90. But that's my the only swing, and you won't see me take many swings because there's only so many swing patterns that I like to see. I like the ascending triangle like this. This one kind of failed, but I would have taken this over this for the move up. We had some resistance here that it, took care of, and I don't know how far back. Well, we might have had some resistance here, but you can see it turned around right here and came right back. So it failed to break out. So I like to trade these ascending and descending triangle breakouts. And, I let Thinkorswim do the work. This platform was designed pretty much for swing traders. So this thing comes up and it gives me the ascending triangle direction both on the price range from, let's see, 86.35 to 90.54. So you've got, that's where it's predicted to hit, anywhere from 86.35 to 90.54. And that's what helps me come up with my targets. Obviously this one didn't make it, but, just like anything else, you go in as a trader, you go in knowing at least 70% of your trades are going to fail. At a minimum, at a minimum, 30% of your trades are going to fail. Only 70% are going to, be profitable. So, you take that risk. It's just like with this. I know I have a 70% chance of being right, and I have a 30% chance of being wrong. So far, I've been right. So we'll see what happens with this moving average tomorrow, and if it takes it out, I'm going to be feeling more right. So, you just have to have that mindset. And also for those Warrior Pro students, I didn't get to do the session today because my internet was down. I will do it Friday. If you can't make it, it will be recorded. You can just shoot me an email and I'll email you the link so that you can get it before it actually gets posted. So, if you actually want to see it, we're going to talk. Tomorrow is going to be dealing with some psychological things, and because I've gone over everything about entering the trade and the process to approach the trade. Pretty much everything that I do throughout my day. Now we're going to get into some of the psychology of it what should help you, it's something I work on every day. I think all traders work on it, and it should help you to nail your entries a little bit better. And yeah, you get off. I've been off, I was off for a couple weeks on my entries, so you're gonna get off, but if you have that foundation, you can find your way back. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. And if I have a good recorded a good trade, I'll share that too. But the main thing is I want to get into some of the psychology of what we go through as traders. All right, and that's all I have for today. Ran a little bit long for a day that I only had one long drawn out trade, but I guess I was bored and wanted to talk a little bit. So please forgive me and have a great evening, great night, or a great morning if you're on the other side with Jay Gray. And I'll see everybody tomorrow in chat.